Uganda's parliament has passed a bill which would criminalise people who identify as LGBTQ, with those found guilty facing up to 10 years in prison. The bill passed with widespread support in Uganda's parliament.
In our country, we will have our morals. We will protect our children. We are making this law for ourselves. We are making this law for our children. We are making this law for the children of our children. This country will stand firm. And once it passed, I can tell you, Madam Speaker, we are going to reinforce the law enforcement officers to make sure that homosexuals have no space in Uganda.
So guys, the clip you just watched there, that's not AI. Those are actual footages from Ugandan parliament. But even as we're starting on to make it, I want to tell you that African countries or Africa, these are countries which are still deeply rooted in the African cultures. And we are in the month of June. Some call it the Pride Month. And if you're on social media, you'll see gay parades in some countries, mostly in European countries. Today we want to look at how Africa is treating gaysm or homosexuality, and probably some of the experiences of some of these LGBTQ community in Africa. But first things first, the way I say that Africa is a continent which is still deeply rooted into in their cultures, their traditional cultures. That's why you see most of them. In fact, 33 countries out of 55 have criminalized LGBTQ and homosexuality. Why? Because they believe that homosexuality erodes their original cultures. And those in leaders, according to them, will do anything possible within their jurisdiction to protect their people from this erosion of culture, according to what I can say about it. In fact, in some countries, like Uganda, I think so. Like in Uganda, homosexuality, or what they call aggravated homosexuality, is punishable by death. You can fact check. Punishable by death. That one is, in fact, if its definition is like homosexuality with probably someone below 18 years, or imposing someone, or probably someone with HIV who is HIV positive, having same-sex, let's say men and men, with someone who is HIV negative, something like that. That is punishable by death. In most countries, probably 10 years, 20 years. But then if you look at how Africans view homosexuality, I first want to give my own view, because for me, I don't support it. I don't know what you say about it. But first, let us look at what recently some of the TikTokers even said, that homosexuality is it's kind of a tactic that the Western countries, or I don't know who, is using to control the population of Africa. Because it's true that same-sex people cannot reproduce. From the Bible, from the time of Adam and Eve, marriage was meant for procreation, to produce children. So same-sex can't produce children. Let's take a listen to what one of the guys has to say.
The biggest reasons for LGBTQ. That's one of the biggest reasons for LGBTQ. And I'm not against no homosexual or no lesbian. I love all African people, but I reserve the right to disagree with any lifestyle that threatens the survival of the traditional African family. LGBTQ is the new birth control pill. Why do I say that? 2 men cannot reproduce. 2 women cannot reproduce. And now they're even transgenderizing our children. Do you know what that means? They're manipulating and indoctrinating African children to undergo sexual surgery so they'll never be able to reproduce again. When Dwayne Wade, whose son is now legally had his birth certificate changed. He's legally a girl.
Yeah.
Hormone therapy. When he gets 30 years old and looks in the mirror and says, you know what? I don't like living like this no more. I want to go back to being what God made me, a man. I want to get a wife and I want to have children. We only got one problem, don't we? Your reproductive is gone. We got another problem. Your testosteronic levels are gone. Your ability to produce healthy seed is gone. There is no going back. We are not looking at this LGBTQ thing the way we should be looking at it. It is birth control and racial extermination. Why you think Kamala Harris is traveling throughout Africa, trying to convince African countries to legalize gay marriage. Why does America care how Africa chooses to run its society? What do you care about marriage in Africa? Because if we can invade African culture to the point where we can manipulate African children into same-sex relationships or outright transgenderism, which is the extermination of your bloodline, we can start predicting the reduction of the African population. They'll never be able to get rid of all African people, but they can damn sure make a dent in our numbers. But more than that, they can disrupt the natural, traditional, healthy, cultural way that we live our lives, build our families, and run our societies. LGBTQ is one of the greatest weapons of white supremacy against the survival of African people.
So according to him, LGBTQ is a weapon brought by Western supremacy with intention to depopularize African countries. That's his opinion. That's why I say that this is, everyone is entitled to. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, and I would also like to hear what you think about this thing. But then, the United Nations of Human Rights, for them they consider LGBTQ or homosexuality to be human right, and they believe that everyone is entitled to their own right. In fact, even some of the African countries, like I think Angola, have discriminalized homosexuality, calling it that as long as it's consensual, it is between two adults, no problem with it. But then, let us look at what the former president, the Kenya's former president, President Uhuru Kenyatta, said about homosexuality of this LGBTQ. If it's human right, if it's going to impress it, take a listen to what he said.
One of the major issues, and it's a holdover from sort of colonial Victorian, is the issue of sexual preference in many African countries. In Kenya, to be gay, the LGBT community is illegal. They just want to have equal rights, the same privacy and equality as all other Kenyans do. Is that something that you aspire to for your country?
I want to be very clear, Christian. I will not engage in a subject that is of no, it is not of any major importance to the people and the Republic of Kenya. This is not an issue, as you would want to put it, of human rights. This is an issue of society, of our own base as a culture, as a people, regardless of which community you come from. This is not acceptable. This is not agreeable. This is not about Uhuru Kenyatta saying yes or no. This is an issue that the people of Kenya themselves, who have bestowed upon themselves a constitution, right, after several years, have clearly stated that this is not a subject that they are willing to engage in, yeah, at this time and moment. In years to come, possibly long after I'm president, who knows? Maybe our society will have reached a stage where those are issues that people are willing, freely and open to discuss. I have to be honest with you. And that is the position that we have always maintained. Those are the laws that we have, and those are laws that are 100% supported by 99% of the Kenyan people, irregardless of where they come from.
So,
It's a very
you're going to get
difficult-
yourself into trouble. Because what you've categorically just stated is that this is not an issue for us, for the Kenyan people,
Yes.
and you don't think that the idea of their privacy, their equality, their rights is
Christian,
important.
This is,
But it's a global issue
it's-
right now.
It's important to them where they are.
Why is it not
I am
important
saying
to you
that it
as
is
president
not
of the country?
important to me as the leader of 49 million Kenyans. And after, if you want to ask me my personal opinion,
What is your personal opinion?
after I finish my process, I can talk about my personal opinion. But as the leader of the people of the Republic of Kenya, I represent that which our people are desirous to be. And I have no choice, but that is my position.
Would you publicly say that people who are LGBT gay members of the Kenyan population should not be discriminated against, should not be violated, should not be abused.
No Kenyan should be abused, should be, mistreated in any particular. Every Kenyan is protected by law, every single Kenyan. But they also must recognize that their freedoms are also must be taken into the entire context of the society that they live in. Because this is not a question of governments accepting or not accepting. This is a question of society, right?
Freedom. In most, in fact, let me tell you something about African cultures. Despite the fact that there's freedom, your freedom is limited. You have some parameters that you can't just pass because it's your right, because you feel it's your right to do so, not in Africa. That's why even one of the most vocal men in Africa, Pierre Lumumba, said that you can't just say that it's your right to become gay, in Africa. You cannot just say that and then get away with it. No. In African culture, we have boundaries which cannot be eroded by your own right. Let's take us into what to say.
Sex is not for pleasure. This hedonistic view that is being held by people and telling us people have the right to choose. People can choose to be thieves. People can choose to be pedophiles. People can choose to go into other areas. Then we say people have the right to choose? No. The choice must be limited according to the mores of a different community.
What if a man decides that his gender identity is woman?
A woman has its own duty, and a man has its own duty, and a lady cannot do the duty of a man, and a man cannot do a duty of a woman.
Can a man become a woman?
No.
No?
No.
What about a transgender? Transgender?
No.
No?
It will look like if you want to become a lady but you're a man, you have something wrong in your mind. Something wrong in your family, something wrong in you.
What about if someone was non-binary?
Come again?
Non-binary? Do you know, like non... Like someone is
you're not a woman, you're not a man.
Yeah, someone is neither. There's something else. Is that?
He's saying we have never seen things like those. For a man, he has a penis. For a woman, he has a vagina. So we know this is a lady, this is a man.
Well, not all Africans are actually supporting the anti-LGBTQ policies. One of the influencers, I think that musicians say that for her, she thinks that it's unfair when someone have to flee from their own country, from their own people, just because they feel like their rights are not being protected. They feel like whether you're homosexual, whether you're not, whether you're gay, whether you're straight, whether you're trans, or what, everyone should be given equal opportunity in their own country, so that they can also positively develop their own country. These are the TikTokers that probably you've come across. Take us into what she had to say.
I had to leave Ghana so I could find a safe space where I could continue to do my work. Being an openly transgender woman in Ghana, it's a warfare. I couldn't even walk on the streets. I couldn't join the public bus. I couldn't go to certain places. I couldn't perform at certain places. As a musician, I had people who did not want to associate with me because I was a trans woman. I honestly feel bad for the future of LGBT rights in Ghana because as it stands now, we can see that everything going on is a political propaganda. I don't see why we should now have to run away from our countries just to feel safe. I hope one day all these things will stop so that queer people can live their lives freely and be open, be happy, and be able to also add on positively to the society.
I think you heard about all this. What's your opinion? Because I don't know if you are supporting gaysm. I don't know if you can stand. If let's say if you are a child, if you are a brother or sister, come up to you one day and then say, I'm a gay, or I want to change my gender. Let me know in the comment section below what's your opinion on this, and if you support it, if you're against it, maybe why. At least you can know where to tackle it from. Don't forget to subscribe and see you next time.